week, we also share a market update. So I'll share with you what's happening in the market last month, and we'll share with you the forecast for 2022 as we go through this part of the presentation. So 2021 was the best year that we ever had here in Texas. Our sales were up 6.1% above the 2020 sales. We sold over 416,000 units in Texas, and the average price was up 18.4% at over $372,700. And the forecast for 2022, another great year. Guys, it will be a stretch for us to have the same increase in 2022 as we had in 2021. Why is that? You guys all know the answer at this point. There's no inventory, right? There's no inventory. If we had more houses to sell, do you think this number would be probably, instead of being at 5%, do you think it would be easily 10%? And do you think that would be easily achievable if we had the inventory? But the truth is, we do not have the inventory, and the truth is that there's probably no way for us to have all the inventory that we truly need for several years to come, but as a result of that, so the people with a lot of rental property, those are the winners in the room, because the value of those properties and homesteads as well, those properties will be going up at least 20% above what happened in 2021. So if you look at the full year data for all of Texas, the average sales price in Texas was $390,000 last month, up 13.5% versus what it was the same time last year. The big jump that you see is the number of closed sales. The number of closed sales were up 14% versus what they were the same time last year. Why do you think that I'm telling you guys that there's only going to be a 5% increase in full year 2022 sales, yet February 2022 had a 14% increase? Why do you think that is? How many of you guys can go back in the time machine to the longest Valentine's date you ever had? February 14th, 2021. Does anybody remember what was going on? February 14th, 2021. The freeze, the snowstorm. How many got locked in with a loved one? So what did that freeze ultimately cause from a real estate transaction standpoint? Fewer real estate transactions closed in February of 2021 because, well, quite frankly, many of us couldn't make it to the closing table because of the ice on the roads and snow on the roads. And many of us, the houses couldn't make it to the closing table. Why? Because in some cases there were pipes that were broken or repairs that needed to be made. So when you look at this big jump in February sales of 2022 versus February 2021, I want to make sure you guys have that perspective. Now, when I come back in here and we're looking at the March numbers in the next week or so, what are those March 2022 numbers going to look like versus March of 2021? They're probably going to be down, because a lot of those February 2021 sales pushed into March of 2021. So I don't want anybody to walk out here thinking, this is so wonderful, these sales are going up, and then next month think, it's already over? Okay, so I want you guys to have some of that perspective. Let's break down what happened last month in Houston. So Houston actually had some of the strongest year-over-year sales of any of the major markets throughout Texas. So the average price was $395,000, up 13.4% versus what it was last year. Total sales were up 23%. And the forecast for Houston for 2022, we forecast the sales in Houston will be up 10 to 15%, the largest jump of any of the other markets in Texas, primarily because Houston actually has some inventory versus many of the other markets actually have less than a 1 month supply of inventory. That average price in Houston will be up in the 15 to 20% range, very similar to what it was the same in 2021. In Dallas, the average price $430,000, up 13% versus what it was last year. Closed sales up 7%. Dallas, you'll notice, has a 0.8 month supply of inventory. Does anybody not know what that means, 0.8 month supply of inventory? What that means is if we stopped listing houses today, no more sellers, based on the average buyer demand that we've had over the last 12 months, right? In less than 1 month, we would be completely out of an inventory of homes to sell. Let me give you a little perspective on that as well. The typical month supply of inventory in Texas is 6 months of inventory. That's the 40-year average. The Dallas sales last year were actually down 1%. They were the only major market in Texas that had a decrease in sales, but it was only down 1%, and 2020 was a great year in Dallas, so nothing to be worried about there. The forecast for 2022, we expect those sales to be up somewhere between 1 to 3%, and we expect that average price up in the 18 to 20% range. In Austin, the average price last month was $606,000, up 20.4% year over year. Closed sales were up 11.3%. Both Dallas and Austin were both severely affected by the ice storm last February, so that's why there's that big jump there. Austin actually has the smallest amount of inventory of any major market in Texas right now, at less than 2 weeks of inventory. So again, if Austin stopped listing houses in less than 2 weeks, they'd be completely out of an inventory of homes for sale. I own a lot of property in Texas, and my phone rings off the hook from who? You guys? Asking me what? If I want to sell my rental property? What am I saying? No, because cash is trash. In an inflationary environment, cash is trash. An inflationary environment, where do you want to be? That'd be real estate. That'd be why we're all here probably today, right? Forecast for Austin sales, I'm hoping they'll be up 2%. Again, if Austin had more homes to sell, then it would probably be up 20%. That's the kind of demand that's there. Average price up in the 25 to 30% range. San Antonio, still one of our most affordable markets. Average price $362,000, up 16% versus what it was the same time last year. Sales up 9% last month. The forecast for San Antonio for 2022, sales should be up somewhere between 3 and 5%. And the forecast for average price up 15 to 18%. Is this good information to know? Does this help drive some of your investing decisions? Are some of you guys going to walk out of here and empty your cash into real estate probably as quickly as possible? The answer is you should, because even though interest rates are rising, and a lot of people are worried, is an interest rate going to kill the housing market? No, no. Go and Google the FRED data, so it's the St. Louis Federal Reserve. They have a chart on there that shows interest rates correlated with housing prices. And what you will find is there's no correlation between interest rates and housing prices. But there is a high correlation between housing prices and time, right? Time. So that's the forecast for 2022. And guys, I want to do a very quick special announcement while I'm up here with you. And that is that we have a real estate investor super meeting, if you will, a super presentation. So did you guys like so far what we've talked about over the course of this evening so far? A couple of you guys say yes if you did? Okay, all right, awesome. So I'll tell you, one of the things that we discovered over the past 2 years is that the regular real estate investor association model is completely broken. And this is the model that we've been running our real estate investor association on since we joined an association back in 2003 and started investing then. And that model is that every month you come back to the meeting, and every month you get a little bit more information, another 3 or 4 hours worth of information, right? And is that going to give you enough information to become a successful real estate investor? No. It's going to be hours and hours and hours to become successful. And most of you guys don't want to wait a year or 2 years or 3 years to be able to get to ultimately where you want to go as an investor. Is that correct? Right. Now is good, right? Cash is trash, and so is now, right? So let's, instead of coming back here every single month to see each other, let's condense all of our knowledge that we've built over the last almost 2 decades of investing into one 3-day class. So we've done that and had the opportunity to rethink everything we do as part of the association over the last 2 years. So what we do is we've put together all of the different strategies that have allowed us to survive, thrive, and not have to update our resume since 2003. We'll actually go through the marketing strategies that you have to use now because your deal is not on the MLS, so we'll show you how to find these off-market deals. We'll go through the 10 sales and closing scripts that you'll need to use in your real estate investing business after we've talked to well over 1,000 sellers and helped even more real estate investors as part of the association. And we'll bring in the partners and the money that you need to be able to successfully navigate and fund your next deal. So we're doing this, I cannot believe we are still doing this workshop for free. Keep your wallets in your purses and in your back pockets and hold your applause. So let me tell you who you can thank for us doing this for free. So when the shutdown first happened, we said we're going to do this for free while we're all at home. And then I said, we're going to do this for free while people are still wearing masks. So can we get a round of applause for the two people in the front row? And these people are the only reason why we're still doing it for free. So I basically said, as long as people are still wearing masks at my meetings, we're going to do this for free. So everyone should pay for your parking, high five you, buy you a drink or something at some point during this meeting. So we've got several different meetings coming up that you guys can take advantage of. The next meeting that we have coming up is in Houston, April 8th, 9th, and 10th. It's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We go from 9 a.m. until about 6 or 7 or 8 p.m. It really depends on you guys. Our commitment is at that meeting. We will stay until you guys have asked all the questions and we've answered all the questions, and we'll stay there for you until you guys are done. We also have another class on April 29th, 30th, and May 1st in Austin. And then a class in Dallas, May 20th, 21st, and 22nd. And I'd love to have you guys join us, love to share some of the information that has made us successful over all of these years. And I'll tell you guys that I did my first deal as part of the Investor Association. I literally bought the property from someone at the REIA. I did my last deal as part of this Investor Association, literally brought a property from someone at the REIA. So this is a great opportunity to be able to get learning, get education, get the funding for your deals, and be able to find great sources of properties and deals and all the things that you need to know to make sure that you're doing it right. If you guys, for those of you guys who are in person that are familiar with the QR code, what you'll do is you'll pull out your phone, you'll click on your camera, you'll narrow in on this QR code. You should have your Safari or your browser pop up. You'll click on that pop-up, which will take you to the registration page for this. If you are unfamiliar with QR codes, where have you been the last year? Seriously, if you're unfamiliar, no worries. Just go to your browser and just type in TexasStarterKit.com. We'll ask you a couple of questions so that we know what stage you are in your real estate investing journey so that we can help you over the course of the weekend. And for those of you guys who are joining us online, hey guys, we've got a link right below online that you guys can click on as well. So guys, I want to thank you for allowing me to chat with you guys over the course of this meeting, and I want